Hey, what is going on, my friends? My name is Nathan Barna. I am the founder of Life Magic, where we help men make their dreams a reality faster than they ever thought possible, and with less effort, and with more love, and with more alignment to themselves, and with God, Spirit, the universe, all of it, all that you are. So today, I want to start with a little story to kind of get us going. And this is module 1 of our course today. So if you're listening to this, you are in the right place. We are just getting our journey started. And the reason I'm making this available for you, the reason that, even if you aren't part of the course, you're still going to get access to it, because I thought long and hard about this, and I've had experiences in the past where I knew I just needed some help. I knew I just needed some information that was going to help me see things in the right way, that was going to help me get the tools that I needed to be the best that I could be, but I couldn't afford it at the time. I knew there was coaches, I knew that there was courses and books out there, but I was just getting started on my journey, and it took me a lot of research to just find small little answers. So I wanted to make this for you as well. But if you are part of Life Magic, this is module 1. And the reason I did this is because anybody can watch a video, anybody can rip a PDF, ebook online, anybody can, find free versions of different courses and things. And so because this information is so valuable, I didn't feel like it was right to try to hide it all behind a paywall, because this is God. This is stuff that people need, and this information shouldn't be tucked away anymore. This is the information that people need. So I'm making this available, while at the same time, for those that are a part of the Life Magic. You already know that the difference between watching a video versus having one-on-one time, being able to connect in person and online with others that are like-minded, being able to have check-in calls and being held accountable, going to the retreats that are off the wall, amazing. All of that makes this all come together so that it's not just information. Because again, I can give you information, but you have to use it. And so I want to start today off with a little story from a time in my life. And this is kind of related to what I was already saying. When I was in high school, it was my senior year, we had just moved. I was still living with my parents, obviously. We had just moved basically across the state from South Bend, Indiana, down to Indianapolis, Indiana. And being my senior year of high school, I was in a completely different school, completely new people, completely new environment, completely new routine. And I realized like everything that I had identified with as me, all the sports, all of the friends, the social groups, the teachers, my academics, all those things that I identified with myself. Because again, when in high school, and I think a lot of people around that age, if you're listening to this, you can relate to it, or you may not even realize it, but your sense of self comes a lot from the things going on around you. Like I said, the sports that you're in, the classes that you're taking, the friends that you have. But when all of that was stripped away from me, because I moved to a new place, it was the first time in my life that I began asking myself the question of, what do I really want? Because when I was playing sports, or when I was, pursuing my academic career, it was always about, what my parents said that I should be doing, what my teachers said that I should be doing, what my coaches said that I should be doing. I was living my life based on what everybody else said that I should be doing, what everybody else said that I should be. But when all of that was taken away, it was the first time I asked myself, who do I want to be? What do I want to be doing with my life? And I realized that the path that I was on, going to school, playing sports, and eventually going to college, and I was supposed to go to college to be an engineer and get a safe job and have a nice little, cushy salary and a nice little cushy home and live a nice comfortable life. That was the vision that was painted for me. But I realized I didn't want any of that. I wanted to follow my heart. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to just work out for a living. And so there's a couple books I read during that time that were super influential to me and really just gave me the permission that I needed to follow my heart. Because again, it was me following my heart was going against everything that I was told that I should be doing. And one of those books was Intuition by Osho. And the other one was the essays of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And while both of those are very different with some different messages and different things that I got from both, ultimately, collectively, what they gave me was, again, permission to trust myself and permission to chase my dreams, permission to dream as big as I wanted to, and the permission to know that I have what it takes and I have the capability to make that dream real. And after reading that, after going through those books, I almost dropped out of high school. Now, there was other things that were involved. My girlfriend at the time left me. She was dating my best friend, and that was a whole thing. And I got super depressed and just all these things all at once. And it was really probably one of the most painful times in my life, to the point where, I was thinking about, is this really worth it? Like, can I just end this all? And honestly, paradoxically, one of the things that helped me was I told myself that the very worst thing that could happen is that I die. Whether that's by some other cause or whether that's because I take my own life. But that's the worst thing that can happen, at least in my eyes at that time. I may not necessarily agree with the same thing now, but at that time, this is what helped me. And even if I died, 100 years, 1,000 years from now, then what would it matter? Nobody would remember me. Life goes on. And even, millions of years, billions of years down the road, the world might eventually collapse on itself. And then really, what does it matter at that point if I die? And so with that perspective, that helped me to realize that I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm just going to go for it. Why not? Why not? Why not? And so the reason I tell you that story, because module 1 is how to change your life forever right now. And this module is all about, like the title says, all about how to change right now. Because a lot of times when we think about change, we think about, there's this far off thing in the distance. There's this goal that I have, this dream that I have, this mountain that I want to climb, and it's this thing that's off in the distance. And while at one level that is true, obviously if you want to climb a mountain, you're going to start at the bottom and then you got to get to the top. On a physical level, that is true. But on a deeper level, the best way to get to the top is to realize that you already are there right now, or at the very least that you have the potential to be there right here and right now. And so this very first lesson is all about potential. And this can be a deep topic because it involves questioning the things that we have been taught not to question, or questioning the beliefs that are so ingrained, questioning the things that we believe in so heavily that we don't even think of them as beliefs. We think of them just as facts. Questioning those beliefs and asking yourself, is that really true? Is there a potential for something different? And when you really are honest with yourself and you ask yourself, well, okay, what is the ultimate potential for me? What's the ultimate potential for a human being? And at a logical level, well, so many of the things that we once thought were impossible are now a reality, are now things that we take for granted. You know, a real easy example is the 4-minute mile that was once thought to be physically impossible, and now it's something that, you know, like high school kids can do. It's just something that we take for granted. Traveling into space, going to the moon, again, once thought to be impossible, now something, you know, we're getting ready to just have trips for fun to go into space. And so our potential is virtually limitless. And so once you recognize that, you can start to recognize different thought patterns and different beliefs that you're holding on to. And this is, as we'll get into, this is where the meditation comes into place. Because you can start to recognize these things, and then you can start to ask yourself that question once you see it. Is that really true? Is it really true that I'm not going to be good enough to do that? Is it really true that I'm not ready to make this decision? Is it really true that I don't have the resources that I need? You know, you can relate it to anything, but you just ask yourself that key question, and then you'll slowly start to recognize, like, oh, there's always the potential. There's always the potential. And so you can start to learn how to live in to that potential. And that's what this is all starting with. Because once you learn that it's all potential and you can live into that potential, that's how you get results right now. Because even though the things that you see on the outside might not change, there's this thing that I call spiritual inertia. Because even though you might have this transformation internally, it still takes some time to manifest on the outside world. But that doesn't mean that it's not happening. Have you ever noticed that what you really believe in tends to become true in the world that you experience? It might not happen right away. And a lot of times, again, we believe in things so heavily that we don't even realize that it's a belief. But because we believe in it, it is a reflection that we are seeing, because your outside world is a mirror internally. As above, so below, as within, so without, because fundamentally it's all the same thing. And this starts to get into a little deeper topics, but as you'll start to realize, all of this is the same thing. Even what we think of as physical matter is 99.99999% empty space when you break it down into an atom. And if you study like Stalking the Wild Pendulum by Itzhak Bentov, talks about how, you know, we're literally moving in and out of existence in such, you know, obviously imperceptible amount of time. And you have to, you know, ask yourself the question, what is time? Is time real, or is time only relative to space? And the illusion that what's over there is separate than what's in here. Because again, going back to the top of the mountain, once you have a knowing that it's all the same shit, then the mountain is no longer something that's way over there. The mountain is as close as right here and right now, because the mountain is you, and you are the mountain. Now again, I don't expect you to take this for face value. These are things that I've only come through just through my own experiences, because this is something that you can just intellectually talk about, and you know, you can sound cool talking to other people, but this is something we ultimately have to get to a knowing. Because when you get to that knowing and it becomes real for you, that becomes your reality, then it's easy to shift those beliefs, because you already know that you are that. You already are the person that you know you have the potential to be, and you've given yourself the potential to be that person right here and right now. And because you already are that person, your thoughts, your actions and the results that you get from those actions will begin to match. And there's things called karma, and we're all co-creators. We all have this power. So it's not just you. There's the spiritual inertia of all the things, but it all comes together. So what I want you to do is, for your first assignment, is to write down a list of 5. And this might take you a couple days to kind of go through, but I want you to write down a list of 5 limiting beliefs, 5 things that come up that you ask yourself, is that really true? So I want you to write those 5 down, and they'll usually, you can pretty easily come up with 5, because usually there'll be things that continue to repeat themselves. And as a hint, look for where you are experiencing pain in your life. Because where you're experiencing pain is where there's an opportunity to grow, where there's an opportunity to expand your awareness, to expand your consciousness. Once you recognize that, then I want you to flip that and write down, what is the potential? What is the potential for the other belief? What's on the other side of that? So I want you to write those down. And then as you're doing that, this becomes your list of affirmations. So you can review these and remind yourself of these every morning so that it becomes automatic. But to take that another step forward, you want to be able to change your state. Because again, we can mentally grasp these things and intellectually talk about these things, and you can read affirmations. But if you're just like, I'm happy, I love myself, and you're not in the state, you aren't embodying that, it's not going to be able to drive as deeply, and it's not going to be as believable to you. So before you do it as a daily practice, and again, we'll start to get deeper into this with different meditations and different ways to change your state physically, but at the very least, take some breaths, full breaths into the belly, rising into the chest. And as you're reading it, as you're reminding yourself of those beliefs that you want to live into, embody it. Read slowly so that you can feel what it feels like to embody that. And then as you continue with that practice, eventually you get to a point where you're no longer having to try to change your beliefs. It's just your natural state of being. And then once you get to that place, then the things that you're experiencing have no choice but to begin to reflect themselves. There's one last point I'm going to make about that, though, is we are all on different paths. And it is my personal belief that, our souls call different circumstances to us, and our souls have a certain destiny. Even though we have free will, we have a certain destiny for the things that we want to learn and the things that we want to experience in this life. And so if your dreams and your goals and your wants and your desires are coming from a place of your ego, in the sense that these are the things that I think that I want, then a lot of times, even doing all this work, you might not get those things because they might not be in line with what your ultimate path and purpose is. So this process even takes another step once you learn how to really align yourself with your soul and your soul's path, because then the actions that you're taking, the beliefs that you're subscribing to, are aligned with that path. So that's your assignment, and that will conclude module 1. Write out, figure out, create a list of 5 limiting beliefs, usually related to the pain areas in your life, and then flip those. What's the potential? What can the belief be? Ask yourself, is that really true? Write that list out, and it could be more than 5 if you want. Write that list out, and then go through that every day. We're going to start building some daily habits. So go through that list every day and change your state. Breathe slowly so that you can embody and feel into it. So hope this is helpful, and I look forward to talking to you and sharing more with you in module 2. And if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're not a part of the Life Magic community, go to optimalevolution.co/lifemagic. That's magic with a K. Optimal Evolution. optimalevolution.co/life, LIFE, magic, MAGICK, all one word, and schedule a call and we can get you enrolled as well. Come join the community and be a part of our next retreat coming pretty soon, or whenever you're watching this. We do one once a quarter. So I'll see you then. Until next time, the journey is the way.